Hi, and welcome to another Digital Photo Guru tutorial. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. If you learned something or enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Feel free to leave comments.
I shoot lots of images and I edit them pretty much right away. This can be a good thing and this can be a bad thing. Lightroom has made so many changes in the past few years. Sometimes it's a good idea to go back and edit images that you shot several years ago because you're going to get better results. Let's start with this image that I shot at Lake Powell 3 years ago. I'm going to start in the basic panel and I'm going to let Lightroom make the adjustments by clicking Auto. Alright, now right away I don't want the contrast, so if I double click the slider, it will return it to its default setting as it came from the camera. I'm happy with the highlights, shadows, whites, and the blacks. It's given me a little bit of vibrance and taken away a little bit of saturation. That's the basic panel in a nutshell. Now let's go to the tone curve. I like to add my contrast in the tone curve. I'm going to start out with medium contrast. And here I've got a gentle S-curve. The bottom point is at the bottom of the tone curve. And to get a black that looks more like film, I just drag this up just a little bit. Hey, I'm an analog guy in a digital world. Let's go into the color mixer. In the color mixer, I'm going to choose luminance. I'm going to choose luminance, my targeted adjustment tool, and drag down to slightly darken the blue in the sky. That's looking pretty good, but I need more punch with the clouds. So let's go in and create a mask of the sky. There I've got a good mask of the sky, but the top of the sky is always darker than the bottom. So I'm going to add a linear gradient. And hold down the Shift key so I keep it parallel to the top of the image. And when I drag down, now the top of the sky will be darker, as you can see by the mask, but I've also got part of the mountains selected. I can easily take care of this by subtracting objects. And to do this, I can either brush over them or use the rectangle to select them. I'm going to use the rectangle. It's a little bit quicker and just as accurate. Now I've got a great selection of the sky. So I'm going to reduce the exposure just a little bit. Decrease the highlights. Increase the whites. Now the clouds really pop nicely. I'm going to drag the blacks just back just a little bit. Let's go down to color grading. And in color grading, I'll start with the shadows, and I'm going to add a subtle blue overlay over the shadows. Select the color, increase the saturation. Now let's move to midtones. And I want a nice red, a warm color. I increase the saturation. And now let's go to the highlights. And I'm going to do pretty much the same thing. Remember, color grading was not available 2 or 3 years ago. All you had was split toning. Now let's go down into detail, and I'm going to work with the sharpening. And I'm increasing it to 100% so I can see exactly what I'm doing. I decrease the radius to 0.5, increase the detail all the way to 100. And notice I've got a little bit of noise in the background. I can take care of that even when the image is sharpened. When I sharpen it, notice I'm sharpening the noise as well. But I can mask this out. If I click Option on the Macintosh machine, Alt on a Windows machine, and drag the masking slider to the right until all I see are lines, the noise is gone and the image is sharp. All right, let's finish up in the calibration panel. The calibration panel was originally designed if your camera wasn't giving you quite the reds, greens, and blues that you'd like. You could adjust the primary of each and the tint to change it. You can also use this in lieu of the color mixer. When you use the color mixer, you're working with an individual color. When you work with the calibration panel, you are working with every single pixel in the image. So I'm going to increase the red saturation just a little bit, and the green, and we've got that lovely blue water. Here's the before, there's the after. It's a subtle change, but there you have it. You need to be subtle when you're editing your images. So if you've got a bunch of old images sitting on your computer that are 2, 3, 4 years old, open them up in Lightroom and work with the new tools you've got. I'm sure you'll be very happy with the results. Here's the before, and here's the after. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you learned something from it, please give it a like, and I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to the channel.